All right, so you're my friend, and I wanted to provide you with some vocabulary that you'll be able to use out there when you're talking to people. Um, it's the language of the law and reason, so it'll have great weight. Um, it's sacred words, sacred vocabulary. That's what it is. Okay, it's sacred vocabulary, and it's all called equity, right? And it's what makes sure that you have a fair hearing, okay? It's what makes sure that the courts, which get funded with our money, do the right thing, right? And they're not supposed to be harming people, and if it's by accident, they should fix it. But if they don't fix it, then what? Is it intentional or are they incompetent? There's only those two things. Now, equity is an idea that has a bunch of rules, and I would say that it's a descendant of the rules of any religion, and most people would know the Ten Commandments. So the laws of equity, the maxims of equity. Okay, those are the rules for like how we solve problems in this society. It's how the Romans did it. So, and it just matured through the ages and stuff like that. And that's what we have now is just Roman law meshed with other stuff. So, I would suggest that you go grab a copy of Maxims of Equity, and I'm gonna have some videos. I'm gonna make some videos on the maxims, and there's gonna be one in this video. But before I get to the first maxim, our court system comes from England, and they had courts of law, right? But the law was sometimes too harsh. The judges did not have discretion to make things right. Somebody who's like, mentally uncapable, somebody with Down syndrome or something, they are playing in a kitchen uh, and in a barn or something, and they push over a rake, and the rake knocks over like one of them hay spears, them trident things, and it falls over, and there's somebody nearby, and it walks by, and they somehow become impaled on that hay fork, and they die. Well, obviously the Down syndrome person, maybe they did it on accident, and people are just like, well, so they claim he murdered. That person died because of something this other person did. But you know what I mean? Like they didn't mean to do it on purpose, and they have kind of like a mental handicap. So the judge doesn't have room to modify anything. He's got to put him to death. They got to put him in the stocks, and then they got to quarter him and all this other stuff. So equity came about so that the judges could fix things like that. The law didn't consider other like other causes. It gave the same punishment to all causes no matter what. So courts of equity came about so that the judges could do what was right, not to do what is more wrong, but to do what is right. That's a court of equity. Okay? So you have to talk in the rules of equity with people. People understand them too because they're the commandments. Just talk about the commandments, really, because people know what they are. And I would suggest you learn if there's other commandments in other religions, which I'm sure there are, but I don't know them. So I'm not going to assume that there are any, but, you know, whatever. So in America, eventually the English system turned into courts of law and courts of equity. So they do both, right? Courts of law is usually criminal. It's a type of equity too. Criminal is a type of equity, you know? It's like the um it makes things right with the public, you know. The Unabomber or whatever, like putting that guy in prison, I guess, did right by the public who he killed and stuff like that. And it was a deterrent, so it was like in the interest of the public anyway. There's a code. There's many reasons to explain why it's public interest. So you know, so essentially, equity is what it's all about, right? And there's rules to equity, and they're the Ten Commandments, plus a couple more that are spelled out, you know, for specific situations and make it even more clear, such as the one that I'll be discussing first.